This is now the Congressional District 1 interview, and thank you candidates for showing up. I'll give you a moment to introduce yourself a little bit here. But first, I want to make sure that the panelists have a chance to say about 15 to 30 seconds who they are, and then I'll redirect over to the candidates. And here we go.
Melanie Thomas, local attorney.
Len Connell, radio show host and business owner.
Nathan Atkins, business owner, former Army.
Rob Lauer, U.S. Army and Newsmax TV.
Robert Faust, U.S. Army, former businessman.
Tim Pataro, U.S. Army, local activist.
Good morning, Mike Edwards, United States Marine, disabled vet, and president of Van Diego's Motorcycle Club, Las Vegas. Thanks for coming.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with Reuben, work our way down, 30-second opening statement, and then we'll get into some questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Reuben D'Silva. I'm a congressional candidate for CD1. I'm a high school teacher over at Rancho High School. I coach girls basketball there. I'm running as a nonpartisan, and I'm also a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, served in Iraq. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fred Horne. I'm a retired veteran, 20 years in the military. I'm running for U.S. Congress because I'm angry. I'm angry about a lot of things. We're going to get into those issues hopefully today. But a few of those issues are the treatment of our veterans, the amount of money that's bleeding, actually surging out of our congressional, out of the U.S. Congress. That's got to stop. And we need to secure our borders. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Miller. I'm running for Congress, District 1 here in Las Vegas. I've been a Nevada resident since 2001. I lived in Reno beforehand, lived in Winnemucca, and now here in Las Vegas. So I understand northern Nevada issues, southern Nevada issues. Right now I work as a tour guide, or actually I'm the vice president of Wild West Horseback Adventures. I started out as a tour guide, worked my way up to vice president. I do payroll, manage employees, and I understand what it means to run a small business. And I want to get regulations off of businesses. It really hurts a small business owner, and I want to get veterans helping out later. I have a lot of plans to make that happen. And
time.
Good morning. My name is Jose Solorio. I'm a candidate, Democratic candidate for the primary for Congressional District 1. First, I'd like to say that probably the best years of my life were when my dad was in the Air Force and I was in Air Force Brat. So I really enjoyed that part of my life. Since then, I've graduated with an MBA. I'm a former school board trustee, and I'm currently a business consultant. I stand for families, I stand for businesses, I stand for our veterans and our seniors. Education is important, and I'll get into the other issues, but this district needs to change. We need to change this district. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Perry, and I am an 8.5-year veteran of the United States Air Force. I was medically discharged in 1993. I started my college once I moved here at UNLV, graduating in '96, and then went and got my JD at the Boyd School of Law. I firmly believe that we need to do more to help our veterans out. There's not enough being done. There's a lot of lip service, but there's not a lot of action, so we need to start getting action in that point. I also believe we need to bring small businesses back to being the backbone of this country. I just appreciate your vote and the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to be as least intrusive as possible. If I hold my hand up like this, yeah, it's time. I don't want to have to yell time, but okay. Melanie, did you want to do what you need?
Yes, Mary Perry left a few things out of her bio that the panel needs to know about before we begin. Perry initiated an action for sole legal and physical custody in family court against a victim of domestic violence and stalking after she courageously reported her perpetrator to Metro and obtained a protective order at Metro's urging during the pendency of their investigation. The action initiated by Perry a few days later came in retaliation for this report. Perry embarked on a of conduct intended to intimidate the victim through slandering and defaming her, calling her a liar, making representations that she committed perjury and deserved to be disbarred. The victim is an attorney. Perry's tactics in the court papers included intentionally and knowingly perverting the factual circumstances surrounding a traumatic childhood assault and falsely representing that the victim had been found responsible for unethical conduct during law school. Perry intentionally furthered her client's relentless harassment and abusive behavior. Known to Perry at the time she filed false, misleading, and ethically inappropriate court papers, Perry had assisted her client's stalking by retaining a private investigator to place a tracking device on the victim's vehicle in the months preceding the report to Metro, a matter later admitted by the perpetrator, but unknown to the victim at the time she filed for protection. She must be commended for the tenacity it takes to show up and seek the endorsement of veterans in politics after defaming it and its president, Steve Sanson, in the court papers I've mentioned. She sought to intimidate and embarrass Sanson and the victim, alleging that they were sexual partners, despite him being happily married to his beautiful wife, who is also a close friend of the victim's. She's now asking for this endorsement. I've told you about the lengths she will go to when it suits her. I make these representations with first-hand knowledge because I am the victim I told you about. I'm resolved these defamatory statements Perry made against me, passing the lie detector test. As to the remainder of her outlandish claims, I have objective documentation unequivocally demonstrating her representations to the court is false. A vote for Perry is a vote in favor of violence against women, victim intimidation, incivility, and unprofessionalism, and is a vote in favor of fair-weathered, factional, and purchasable loyalty to things other than fairness, honor, and truth. If you're a woman or a loved one of a woman, my story could have been your own. You did not define me with your words. You defined yourself. I hope the rest of this panel right here does not condone such behavior.
Was there a question in there?
I'll give you a moment to respond, but I was not anticipating that.
Totally out of line.
But I would really encourage not for that not to occur, but in all fairness, I need to give Mary Perry a chance to respond. You can keep it to a minute because we really have a short amount of time here. And please, panels, please respect me on that as the moderator. Thank you. Go ahead, Mary.
This case was a family court case involving child custody. The mother was trying to attempt to go after child custody where 2 years earlier or 3 years earlier, I'm not sure, she had agreed that it was in the best interest of the child for her husband and her to share joint physical custody on the child. The photograph in which was put on Facebook was a photograph where the only red scratch marks were right here, and I had a duty to defend my client. My client was her ex-husband, and as she pointed out, the person here on the panel who is supposed to be making determination is the victim and the one in which this had went after. What it came down to is all criminal charges were dismissed from her ex-husband. But what was not pointed out was that I withdrew before anything was placed on the car. I withdrew before any court hearing took place. I wrote the opening motion and then passed the case off to somebody else. So her personal attack on me should show that she needs to be excused from this panel. Thank you.
Andrew. As the sitting assemblyman, she needs to recuse herself now from this panel for this interview. There's clearly a bias. I will not participate.
Well, I think functionally that was her question. How's that?
No, that wasn't a question. No.
That'll come at, hey, John, that'll come at voting time when she has to recuse herself.
That she should not be sitting on this panel for this questioning, period.
And I guess technically it is up to the panel to
I'll
decide
recuse
that.
myself from voting in this matter.
No, you'll recuse. Okay, then step aside.
I really don't want to take time away from our candidates. And
We'll
I'm
be fair.
sorry that just occurred, but
Then we need to be fair.
sometimes you can't be prepared for everything.
I'm a family law attorney. I'm used to attacks like that. I defend it daily.
All right,
This is not the forum for that.
Why don't we start with Len? Let's stick to business here. And again, the question should be about 30 seconds. The responses should be about a minute. We're already halfway through our time, unfortunately. So it's like lightning round on Jim Cramer. I got to lighten this up a bit. All right, Len.
Okay, Len Connell, bringing the energy down a little bit. Softball question. I'm going to direct it to all of us, just maybe one or two words. What is the biggest problem facing Nevada veterans currently, and if elected, what is the one, if you could fix one problem facing veterans as a congressperson, what would it be? Let's start with Reuben.
Sure. I think that the two biggest issues are access to education and access to entrepreneurship loans, pretty much. You know, I was able to use my GI Bill to utilize it, but on the same token, though, there was still extra costs that I was not able to pay for in terms of tuition until I got my Purple Heart. Then it was 100%. But there's many veterans out there who served honorably, served in combat, and I believe that we should look at having 100% of those education costs covered. The second thing is access to financing. I was looking at starting a business last year, and having access to those startup funds was something that was a tremendous challenge for myself and my business partner. I think that we should look into greater opportunities for veterans because of their service to the country, because of the sacrifices that they've made for this nation to help them start small businesses and contribute to the economic vitality of this nation.
Well, thank you for the question. The bottom line is our veterans have no confidence at all in the VA. The VA has demonstrated that they are more interested in some of the people lining their pockets or developing promotions for themselves rather than treating our veterans. That is the...
Sorry.
Well done. Lost my train of thought there. Yeah, that was one of my opponents here trying to...
It worked.
Yes, it did, is what I'm saying. But the bottom line, until we restore confidence in our Veterans Administration management team, we're not going to get anywhere. That's the bottom line.
Go ahead, Jeff.
All right, here's what I know. Right now, we have a large homeless veterans problem. And what I would like to do is get out there and do an outreach, let them know about non-service related benefits for them. That way we can create income for them and get them off the streets that way. You know, if we have to create a panel once a week to do that, we can do that. Also, what I would like to see is something called a voucher, like an insurance voucher. Once they're released from active duty, part of the perks of being in the military is getting this card. And they can take it to any doctor, any doctor's office they want to take it to. It's as good as gold. The doctors are going to accept it because we're going to pay full, you know, fair rate value on this thing, fair market value. Or we could do, there's a lot of things we could do. That way it doesn't get thrown into the Medicaid or the Medicare account.
Yes, I would say that the biggest problem facing our veterans has to be respect. We as a country are not respecting our veterans when it comes to health care, when it comes to Medicare, when it comes to veterans, when it comes to benefits. We as a country are willing to spend billions and billions of dollars to go to war, but we're not willing to treat our veterans with respect when they come home. So whether it's education, whether it's medical, we need to respect our veterans and we need to act accordingly.
One of our biggest problems with the veterans is the fact that they cannot seem to get jobs. And a lot of people are scared to hire our veterans because of the TBIs that's involved, as well as the PTSD and the fear that they may face this. So one of the things that we may want to do is make sure that they have the ability and the funds to be able to begin their small businesses. I believe we need to take some of this wasteful spending that we have and put it towards the Small Business Administration or even the Minority Business Development Agency so that everybody can start small businesses again. But this will aid their veterans to control their own life. Then we also need to make sure that they get their benefits much quicker than what they're getting them right now. Thank you.
Okay, just as a procedural thing, I know we're not going to get down the line here with 12 minutes to go in this, and I apologize, but we'll start, the next session, we'll start at the point which we left off with the panelists, so you know that. So I guess we're up to Jim.
Mr. Martin, if we're that tight on time, I would not ask a question for this round and actually give it to Mike Edwards. I think it's important that we hear from veterans first. So Mike, if you want to go ahead and take my question.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Good morning. Thank you for coming down. On the Veterans Administration, since we're on that topic, the VA, I'm actually a vet and recently, I've gotten some good insurance through my union, so I started seeing a civilian doctor as well. And my civilian doctor has told me all the blood pressure medication and the high cholesterol medication I've been taking for the last few years is unnecessary because my lab results that I get from the VA are not copacetic with the civilian doctor. So a lot of times it's not the doctor's fault, but the whole system I think is broken. Going back to your question, my thing is we have in place for the credit, the vouchers and all that, that's not being, what would you do? We need a liaison. We need a veterans liaison or somebody that can go in, that can help, a hotline that people can call. Would you be in support of something where we have, especially in Las Vegas, just a veterans liaison, people can call, they can get the help they need immediately because 22 veterans committing suicide a day is way too much also. That's just a question, short answer, yes or no, please, thank you.
Okay, why don't we start with Reuben?
I totally agree with you there. Second five, by the way, Mike. I think that we have the ability to do this. It's just a matter of executing the plan of action. The VSOs are a great tool for this. There should be some more outreach, I think, specifically done by the VA itself. I'll tell you, I went through the Wounded Warrior Battalion. I was injured in Fallujah, 2007 by a sniper, and I was actually made to go to these outside groups, the Vietnam Veterans of America, these small talk therapies. And those things help big time in terms of addressing some of our issues. Just talking to other people in a closed room, maybe with a nurse there or something, about the things we saw, so on and so forth. And they help big time. And there's a lot of evidence out there that supports the fact that does help, alleviate those suicide rates.
Well, thank you for the question. Yeah, you're right on the money. It's unfortunate you chose the wrong service, but you should be in the United States Army, of course. But the bottom line here is that, here's the thing. There are a tremendous number of veterans groups out there for veterans outreach. I've been in those, in that hospital out there. I've been at these clinics. I'm a partially injured soldier myself. I have a Purple Heart. I've been through the process. I've gotten my certification. And yes, we do need a Veterans Administration specific outreach group of people that will go out there and reach those kids. I've walked the halls, I've talked to them. I went through PTSD.
Thanks, sir.
That's a great question. I'm actually glad you brought that up. Like Fred was just saying, there are groups out there right now, such as the VAV and vets. They do work as a liaison at one point or another. Now, also, I had 4 veterans come to me this week asking about the suicide hotline here in Las Vegas, District 1. They told me they called the number and it went to voicemail. That's unacceptable. When you have somebody at rock bottom who went and fought for our country and they're crying out for help, and that's not easy to do when someone is depressed and they're already feeling like everyone's against them. And they reach out and they call these numbers asking for help. What do I do? And they get a voicemail? Unacceptable. And right now, we're working on something in our campaign to get that going. We obviously have to get elected before we can do it, but even so, whether we're elected or not, we can still do things, bring awareness to the issue, and I want to do something now. I don't want to do something months from now or years from now, because there's a need, and there is a need right now.
First, I want to say thank you to the veterans that are here today. Thank you for your service to the country. My father passed away a few years ago and was a 20-year veteran of the Air Force. And so I can speak from experience that what we have today and services that we provide to our veterans is horrible. For a veteran to have to wait months to get even an appointment, many die before they even get the treatment. And when they get there, they have to wait again. So we're not respecting our veterans. We're not providing medical, we're not providing education. And I don't understand that. In a Congress that spends billions and billions of dollars and is okay with Halliburton and some of the other defense contractors and paying huge sums of money, but we're not able to respect our veterans and fix the problems at home. It's not managed right, and we got to change that. We need to change the management of Veterans Administration. Again, thank you for your service.
The answer to your question is yes, we need to have more outreach, but that outreach needs to start while the person is still active duty. A lot of the paperwork and even this determination on the disability can be done before the person is even discharged. So there is a lot more that we can do to make sure that the 22 suicides a day stops and that they get the proper medical care as soon as they get out.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask a question. It was not our fault, that we started late here. I think we deserve our full 30 minutes.
Well, we're still going, and I will get you the 30 minutes, but we have per that schedule, we have 9 minutes left, and I understand the concern. Having been a candidate myself, I get it. We were up to, we have a new arrival. Did you hear the question?
I apologize, I really do. I got stuck in the traffic, so.
Okay, did you hear the question?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's
I really apologize to everyone.
Mike, can you briefly restate the question?
Just speaking about the Veterans Administration in general, and there's lots of services out there, but we need more of an outreach, PSAs. Ms. Perry is referring to, I was out of the service discharged for 20 years before I even knew I had any veterans benefits. I didn't get anything. Just something, would you be for like a Las Vegas representative, a local rep, for somebody can call? We have a 24-hour hotline for like suicide, something's paid for by the state.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with what Ms. Perry said. I was in the Middle East on the USS Destroyer just 3 years ago, and one of the worries that the sailors had is when we get out, do we get the same medical treatment? Unfortunately, no, you don't. You don't get the same services. You don't get the same treatment. So I said, yes, I'll fight for you guys. And what she just said, I agree with that totally. There has to be a representative for these people who are risking their lives all the time.
Okay, thank you. Tim, you'll have the last question, and we're going to go into closing statements.
Okay, so being a veteran myself, I realize that in the veteran community, we're kind of all kind of doom and gloom here. But my question specifically to Ms. Perry: how are you going to help female veterans who are often overlooked in this whole veteran community? How would you address female veterans specifically?
The way that I would address the female veterans, as well as all the other veterans, is I'd make sure that they would have a phone number to be able to reach me directly. I have a cell phone number. I'm willing to give it out at 702-523-9517, and I have absolutely no desire to change that phone number. I will help them by being there and accepting their phone calls personally and not having some assistant try to handle it themselves. I will also do everything in my power to have all the different resources that the females as well as the male veterans can have so that they can reach out to get all those resources. Personally, with me being a victim of domestic violence myself and having survived it, I know that domestic violence even happens but between dorm roommates. It happens because I've seen that. But they have to have the assistance to get what they need. And the only way you can guarantee that it's being done is by being the person to actually answer the questions, because I am the veteran in this case. I am the female veteran in this case, and there's only 17% of the veterans in Washington, D.C., so we do need to put more veterans there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, I'm sorry that we don't have more time. This was allocated 30 minutes. Whys and wherefores are unimportant, but I do know from having been a candidate and elected, the closing statement, it's all about that. So I'd like to give you a minute, 15 seconds. Don't push it, please. But why don't we start with Fred and go down, and then we'll end with Reuben. I'm just trying to mix it up a little bit.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I still object to the being cut short on time here. To me, this is a pretty important race. You have some well-qualified candidates up here that have not had the opportunity to speak, and I hope that the people back there understand that. The bottom line here is, who are you going to send to Congress? Who are you going to send up there to represent you? Who are you going to send up there to represent the veterans? Who are you going to send up there to stop the bleeding, the amount of money that's being mismanaged and sent out of the federal government for little programs that do not work? Who are you going to send up there to look at the border and say enough is enough? The American people do not trust politicians. I was not a politician until I got into this race. And I'm one of those people that had given up. But finally I said, you know, if I don't stand up, then who will? So the bottom line is, you need to send somebody up there that's been through the veterans process. You need to send somebody up there that understands how to manage a budget. You need to send somebody up there that knows how to balance a checkbook. You need to send somebody up there that understands that when we send our young soldiers into combat, that we support them for their life, not just for the amount of time that they spend up there fighting for us at our bequest. Thank you.
Sorry. Also, and right after this, Steve Sanson is sponsoring a happy hour. You said noon, Steve, you're going to have some food? Panelist. So also, you got to keep this thing moving so the panelists will basically stay in their seats. Goodness. Panelists are being treated like that in politics. I'm saying correctly for the record. Okay, I apologize for the time limitation, but unfortunately, welcome to being a candidate. Mr. Miller.
There again, it's Jeff Miller here. All right, so look, I'm not a politician either. I'm not a career politician by any means. I'm just a regular guy who's had enough, just like Fred was saying earlier. I still don't consider myself a politician, but I want to be a representative, and I understand the meaning of you know, a representative democracy. But you know, we have a problem right now. Our elected officials act like they're elected monarchies. I mean, right now, our sitting congresswoman, the incumbent, Dina Titus, she's not even here. Where's your representation? I want to represent you. And I can look you in the eye and I can honestly tell you that. And, you know, we're going to repeal Common Core. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to bring it back to local areas, like I said earlier, give it back to the parents, the teachers, school board, and even business owners, because they're the ones who are going to be hiring these kids once they graduate. They should have a say. When these local businesses have to go out to other states or other countries to bring people in, it's not right. But also for veterans, if you need a job, come down to my office Monday morning. I'll interview you. 2470 Chandler Drive, suite number 11. I'll give you a job right now. But also, I'm running some return lands back to Nevada, 80% on time.
Again, my name is Jose Solorio, and together we can make that change. I'm going to talk about what it is that I see as a solution to the problems of District 1. District 1 is a high Latino population, 44%, and 2 out of 3 students are Latino. We need a representative that understands veterans, that understands our district. That's important because education is our second worst district in the entire nation when it comes to graduation rates, especially for English language learners. And we need education at the community college level, the university level for our veterans. Secondly, we need to address jobs. We need to get jobs for our veterans when they come home. We need to make them job ready. We need policies that help. We need to address immigration. We need a solution to immigration. We don't need rhetoric. And number 4, we need to look at healthcare, whether it's Medicare, whether it's healthcare. These issues are important to District 1. And finally, we need to look at leadership. Leadership is what makes things happen. I, as a congressional representative, will work with other leaders in solving problems. I won't point the finger, it's their job. You know what? It's our job to fix things. And I'll bring my experience as a school board trustee, a long-time community advocate in education and economic development, to help bring solutions to our district. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Mary Perry, and I'm also running for Congressional District 1. The veterans is a very important part of our country. We need to take care of them because they have taken care of us. Many of them are no longer with us because they gave their all, making sure that we were taken care of. We also have to take care of that document in which so many people were willing to give their lives to protect, and that's the Constitution of the United States. We need to make sure that all the amendments are protected, the first, the second, third, right on down. The Second Amendment is one of the biggest ones that's going to protect all the other ones, because as long as the citizens have a right to bear arms, then the citizens can determine what's really going to be done. The government only fears its citizens when the citizens can fight back. I also believe that instead of just bringing jobs back into this country, we need to bring small businesses back into this country, because the small businesses is what's going to create those jobs. This country was built to its greatness on the backs of small businesses, so let's get that greatness back by putting it in and giving everybody the true American dream. I am Mary Perry. My website is maryperryforcongress.com, and I just gave my phone number out earlier. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Mary Perry for Congressional District 1.
Hi, I'm Patrick Boylan, and I guess you all know my name now because I was late. But I'm asked this question very often, why are you running for Congress? And I usually answer because it's faster than walking. But that's just a funny joke. You're supposed to laugh. Lots of people in my neighborhood and my district, they came to me and said, you've got to run, because I've been active in the neighborhood. I was on the town advisory board, volunteered in my son's schools. I started the first bachelor's program in Homeland Security in the country. I've been involved in Homeland Security and intelligence analysis. I really understand the dangers we face from abroad, the enemy from within and without. The incumbent, and I'm sorry to say this, but she's not here, she was in favor of the Iran nuclear deal. That was my last straw, and I said, oh, these politicians, these professional politicians, they don't know what's going on. They're just going with the party line. We are in great danger from Iran and the Middle East. You can see what's happening with Saudi Arabia right now. The politicians in Congress and everywhere else, they don't want to give up the truth about the 9/11 actions that Saudi Arabia is responsible for. I believe that having a strong military, we are going to be able to defend ourselves. Thank you. Apologies.
Okay, last closing statement. Reuben.
Yeah, my name is Reuben D'Silva, running for CD1. This is a special group of people here, veterans and friends of veterans. As a veteran myself, I'll say that I'll be a hell on wheels when it comes to veterans-related issues. I've served in combat. I know the stresses. I've been through the VA system. I've called hospitals and asked to have a doctor's appointment, and then they tell me I won't be able to see a doctor for another 3 months. I've been there. I've had to deal with family issues. My brother's in the Marine Corps. My other brother is in the Army. I come from a family of immigrants who believe the United States of America is the greatest nation in this world. And one of the greatest values, I think, about this country are our military values: discipline, honor, courage, commitment, so on and so forth. And I highly respect the veterans community, and I am part of the veterans community. It will be one of my top agenda items if I'm ever so lucky as to be elected to Congress. And you can count on me for your support, 110%. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate everyone's cooperation. I know the format was not as long as we would have liked it, but nonetheless, I think you all got a chance to participate. And I want to thank the candidates for showing up and expressing their views. I also want to thank the panelists for their work. And Karen has a brief announcement.
Well, let's thank them. I want to thank all the candidates for being here today. My name is Karen Stillman. I'm the auxiliary director with Veterans in Politics. Thank you all for coming. If we could get the next panel to be seated, that would be great. You all have a great day. Get out of the way. VIP panel members who are interested in a lunch, who would like to get the first table to go downstairs and put in your order, then come back up, and then the next table can go downstairs. Put in your order and come back right away. If you're going to have